Alright, now here's some practice with solving. So our first equation here is a two-step equation. What's tricky about it, where people make mistakes, it's understanding what's happening. So remember, when we're solving equations, we're undoing what's happening to the variable x. So right now, the variable is being multiplied by -3, and then 5 is being added to it. So the undo of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So I would subtract 5 on both sides of the equation. Remember, the equation is like a dividing line. When I do this, notice 5 minus 5 makes the 5's go away, so they cancel out. And now I've got -3x left over equal, what's -1 minus 5? Well, -1 minus 5 is -6. Remember, it becomes more negative. And now here, I can divide both sides by -3 and get x is equal to +2. So the big mistake that people are going to make is that they're going to try to either add the 1, which makes this more complicated, or you're going to add 5 thinking that it's minus, which is incorrect. You should be subtracting 5 on both sides. Check your subtraction, and then you should get a nice number here. So work on numbers 2 and 3, get it signed off by one of the teachers in the room, and then you can come back and listen to the video for number 4. So I would hit pause in the video right now. Alright, number 4, you should have had these two checked off by your teachers. There should be a teacher check down on the bottom there, and now we're on number 4. So number 4 has multiple steps to solving, and it has variables on both sides. So before you can do anything, we always like to take care of parentheses by distributing. So the left-hand side doesn't change, but the right-hand side turns into 2x minus 2. When you're solving, your goal is to get a solution that looks like this. So we're trying to get the x all by itself and equal to a number all by itself. So we need to get the x's together, and we need to get the numbers together. So this step is called consolidating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to consolidate the constants together and get those together before I do anything with the x's. So I don't like looking at negatives, so I'll add 2 to both sides. When I add 2 to both sides, it eliminates on the right-hand side because I undid adding 2. And now I've got 4 plus 3x equals 2x. Okay, so again, remember my goal is to get to this spot where I have x equals a number. So right now I have x's on either side of the equal sign. So I need to get them together. So a lot of you are probably thinking, I'm going to subtract 2x and bring it over here. You don't want to do that because then that leaves this side with nothing on this side of the equal sign. I want to keep this over here, so I'm going to bring the 3x that way. So I'm going to consolidate it by subtracting 3x on both sides of the equation. So I'm moving the 3x over here to get the x's together. So 3x take away 3x is gone. 2 minus 1 is negative x. So at this step, I'm going to have to divide by -1 to get rid of that negative. So -4 equals x, and I'm done. So remember, there are 2 steps in this. You got to consolidate the numbers, move the numbers to one side of the equal sign, to the constant values. And then you're going to have to consolidate the terms that have x's in them. So I move the x's over. So this way I have only x's on one side and only numbers on the other side. And that's your solution. So try 5 and 6 and get them signed off by a teacher. You can hit pause now. Alright, for number 7, you should have paused, or you should have had the 5 and 6 checked and signed off by a teacher. Now we're dealing with fractions. We're using our skills that we've learned with solving equations, and now we're working with fractions. Remember, with fractions, we're trying to clear the denominator. So what that means is that we're trying to undo what's in the denominator. So remember, a fraction just means division. It's a number divided by another number. So the undo of dividing is multiplying. But remember, when we did equivalent equations, when you multiply, you have to multiply both sides and everything by what you're multiplying by. And in this case, we're going to multiply by 3 because that's the denominator and the fraction that we're trying to clear for both fractions. So when I multiply 3 times negative 4 over 3, let me show you what happens. Remember, 3 is just like multiplying 3 over 1, if that helps. So I'm multiplying 3 times negative 4, which is negative 12, and then you have to multiply 1 times 3 on the bottom, so that's 3. So it's negative 12 over 3b. Doing the same thing here, I'm multiplying 3 over 1 times this. 3 times 16 is 48, and 1 times 3 on the bottom is 3. And then 20 times 3 is 60. I can simplify this. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4b, and 48 divided by 3 is 16b, which equals 60. Now some of you might have known that when we multiplied by 3, another shortcut of doing that is essentially what happens is that you just cancel out the denominator with the numerator. So what's left over is a negative 4b and the 16b. So either method works, it's whatever you're most comfortable with. So now I combine like terms, negative 4b plus 16b is 12b. And now I can divide both sides by 12 and get b is equal to 5. Alright, so work on number 8 and number 9 and make sure you get it signed off by a teacher.